Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video, I will share with you a very simple and useful hat recipe, the model of which belongs to a famous brand. I want to show you our hat closely. Look, it is an incredibly enjoyable example, the top part of which consists only of single needle. Just look, there is a very nice trick at the tip like this. There is a technique here that will keep the hat in great shape. As you know, normally fishing line or a thin wire, etc. is placed here, but we will make an application where this will not be necessary. This was really good information. Look, it really looks beautiful on the model. I want to show it on the other side right away. It looks amazing when attached to the back. The harmony of these two colors was wonderful. I worked in colors that match the original. I will also add the links to the colors I used in the description section below. You can look from there. This hat we have prepared is standard, that is, it is a hat suitable for adults. But if you want to make this hat in smaller sizes, for example for children or babies, you can find all the details in the video on how to make it. I tried to share the step-by-step recipe with you. Before moving on to our detailed recipe, I would like to make a small request from you. You can subscribe to our channel for free. I would be really happy if you like the video and leave your comments. Let's move on to our recipe. I will use spaghetti paper yarn for my knitting. I want to share this feature with you right away. Mixed 100% paper weight in the range of 150 grams, 250 meters long. Look at it up close at 9 like this. I can say that it is the softest paper yarn I have ever knitted. I would definitely recommend you to meet Spaghetti Tomorrow's paper yarn. By the way, I would like to share with my subscribers a nice discount news from Special Spaghetti Yarn. You can complete your shopping with a 10% discount with the 10 codes you will read, which you can use for your purchases of 100 teraliters or more at spaghettia.com. It's spaghetti with a nice discount. I thank the family very much. Did I buy paper thread? Check out the texture. The texture is close up. This way my crochet number will be 3 millimeters. You can determine your own crochet number according to the thinness and thickness of your own yarn and the tightness and looseness of your knitting. We first start with the magic ring. If there are beginners among us, I have previously shared a detailed video on how to make a magic ring. I will add the link to the description section of our video. You can access it by clicking there. See, this is how I created my magic ring. While making the magic ring, we pull one chain here. Now I am sinking into the ring. I remove the noose. I knit single needle. I don't knit this row very tightly. I sink into the ring again. I remove the noose. I have 2 stitches to fill. I'm sinking a single needle. Remove the stitch and knit a single needle. Now we will knit 10 single needles like this. I want to knit them quickly. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. We have knitted 10 single needles. Now we will pull the short rope from the magic ring and gather it up to the point where we can pull it. It is pulling in a controlled manner. There are benefits. If you pull the thread too quickly, the paper thread may break. We do this in a controlled way. The spaghetti paper yarn is a very strong yarn. Compared to other paper threads, it is not a thread that can break easily when you pull it, but it is still useful to be controlled. Now look, we have gathered the circle, so that there is no space left in the middle. Now look, this is the top of the first single crochet. What am I doing? After knitting 10 single needles, I come to the top of the first single needle. Since I wanted to hide the short yarn and knit it, I put it on my crochet hook. I'm making a loop from this point. Look, since we will be knitting in a spiral way, there will be no joining, hiding, etc. I don't. I dip directly into the top of the first single needle and knit again. Since this is the first single crochet I started and the first single crochet of the new row, let's definitely use a locator so that we can easily see our increase points. I attached my safety pin to the point where the first single crochet was. I knit my second single needle again by sinking into the space where the same single needle was. Let's take it briefly. Look again, I'm sinking into the space of the next single crochet. I knit 2 single needles. 1 in the same space. 2 again in another space. 1 in the same space. 2 Now we knit 2 single needles in each of the 10 single needles and proceed to the end of the row. We have come to the end of our turn. Look, we knit 2 single crochets in the space where the last single crochet was. We knitted our second single needle into the head space, and now look, the single needle point in the first row, where we will start the new row, is clearly visible. At this point, we take out our safety pin. I continue. Look, we're starting the new row here. There are 2 single crochets in the same space, so what does this double mean? It means 2 single crochets in the same hole. I'm coming to the first of this now. I knit 2 single crochet stitches again in the same space. 2 now, since this is my first point where I started, look, I'm attaching my safety pin to the first single needle. This is the beginning of my turn. We will continue as 2 for the first one and 1 for the second, that is. We will make a pair and an odd. Look again, I am knitting my pair, 2 in the same hole, 1 in the other, that is, an odd. A pair, that is, 2 that are the same, 1 for the other. I explain it this way. It may seem a little strange to those who know, but if there are people who are introduced to knitting for the first time, and those who are new to this process, it is useful to explain in detail in this way, because those who are starting to knit for the first time will ask questions such as what is double and what is odd. That's why I'm explaining it in detail like this. It's worth noting that we started with a couple here. 1 even, 1 odd, 1 even, 1 odd. Now we proceed to the end of the row. We have come to the end of our turn. We started with a couple. Look, our last single needle ends with a single needle. We started with a couple, we end with 1. Now I'm taking out my safety pin. Look, where are we in this row? We completed 1, 2, 3 places. Now I'm going to move on to the 4th row. I immediately insert my first starting point into the point where the first single needle is and knit a single needle. I attach my safety pin right at the top of this single crochet. In the meantime, we will knit 1 for each. Look, I'm coming, because it started to fluctuate slightly. If you keep increasing it again in the meantime, it may fly away. I don't want this. Now we will complete the sequence by sinking into each one once. Look, only 1 single crochet in each point. By knitting 1 into each hole, it comes to the point where the hook is. Look, we have come to the end of our row. Now I am removing the hook as I will start a new row. Now let's remember that the last increase we made was a pair and a single. Now I will start with 2 odd and a pair. I come to the first point, a single crochet. Since this is the first point where it started, I place the hook at this point without missing it. I knit 1 single stitch. Then another single stitch, I knit 2 single stitches. Now I knit the other one double, that is, I knit 2 single crochets in the same hole. 1, 2, 3, 2 single stitch, 1 pair again, 2 single stitches. Another single crochet is now doubled to another second single crochet in the same space. Look, we started to increase. We complete our sequence as 2 odd, 1 even, 2 odd, 1 even. I am at the end of our row. I take out my safety pin. We started with 2 singles. We finished our turn with a couple and the turn is equal. Look, 2 odd rows and 1 even row are completed. Now I'm starting a new row. I knit 1 by 1. After knitting 1 single crochet at the first point, I immediately attach my safety pin here so that I can easily see my finish and start. I knitted a kick. Now look, what are we doing here? Here we try not to overlap the double points, especially when working on such round bases. In other words, if they overlap, we do not want this as corners will occur. We try to get a smooth circle by sliding the double crochets back and forth, sometimes in the middle, and trying not to overlap them in each row. You can do this any way you want. Starting numbers don't matter. Let's just not spoil the auction here. What do we normally do with classic round soles? We start with either 8, 10, or 12 single crochets. In the second row, we double sync each one. So 2 next one, a single, a couple. Next row, 2 odd, 1 even. Next row, 3 odd, 1 even. We enlarge our round base by increasing the odd numbers one by one in each row. So the classic boost rhythm is rounded like this, but the only trick we do is on the bases. As I said, we knit a spiral. While knitting this, we try not to overlap the double needles on top of each other. The reason for this is to prevent corners. I hope it was clear. Now look, what am I going to do here? One of the double points. Look, one of them is in this part. I will take it. I knitted one single needle in the first row. I immediately knit a double needle in the next one. So I'm starting with a single pair. Look now, the same point is the second single crochet. But will I continue this way? No, what will I do? Meanwhile, what was my raise count? I will make 3 odd and a couple, because I made 2 odd and a couple in the bottom row. I started with a single pair. I did this to relocate the couple. Now I continue my classic increase. I'm doing 3 singles, 1, 2, 3 odd, 1 to another even. Again 3 odd, 1, 2, 3 odd, 1 even. Now we will come to the end of the row like this. 3 odd, 1 even, 3 odd, 1 even. When we come to the end of the row, let's remember that we started with 1 odd. By finishing with 2 singles, we will again get the third number at the end of this row. In other words, we will complete the missing point at the beginning at the end. In this way, we will complete our row by making 3 singles and 1 double, and then we will finish our row with 2 singles. We will continue the next row together. I have come to the end of the row. We are now here. Am I taking off the hook? I'm going to line up again. I'm going to start a new row. What will I continue with? I move to the row of 4 odd and even. Look, it increases again one by one. In each row, 1 became an odd pair, 2 became an odd pair, then 3 became an odd pair. Now 4 will become an odd pair. I immediately knit my first single stitch at the first point, and since it is the first point I started with, I make this point clear by immediately attaching my safety pin to the top of this first single needle. Now I will start with 4 single needles, the second single needle at another point, third single needle to another, fourth single needle to another. See why? I will bring the pair to the middle of the even points. I made 4 singles. Now I knit this part twice. I started with a single pair of 4. I continue again. 1, 2, 3, 4 is an odd pair. Back to the same space again. Look, we will finish this row by completing this row as 4 odd, 1 even, 4 odd, and 1 even. What will be our next turn? There will be 5 odd and 1 even. Again, we will be careful not to overlap the double parts. We will continue our classical increase by making such shifts as in the lower rows without matching the double points. Now I measure this insole for adult. It might be about 17 to 18 centimeters. It can be a minimum of 15 centimeters and a maximum of 18 centimeters. Maybe a little bigger, even 19 centimeters if you like to wear it loosely, but as I said, it is useful to measure it. Maybe you can use the same yarn and crochet number as me. From the measurements I gave, yours may be a little less or a little more. This will vary depending on our knitting tightness and looseness. It is also worth mentioning this. Now look, we will make our increases without overlapping the pairs with the classical increase method. When it comes to the size we want, the standard 16 to 17 centimeters is ideal for an adult. For children, 14 centimeters is ideal. You can make it in these sizes. Now let's continue increasing until we reach the size we want. After making our increases, we will continue another process together. Now see, here I have enlarged my base by increasing the top of my hat enough. The last time I made a double here was 7 singles. I never sank alone in between. By increasing the odd numbers one by one in each row, we last made 4 singles and 1 even. Then I finished my turn with 5 odd even, 6 odd even, 7 odd even. Now look, I will give you this measurement. Since I continue to increase the size completely, and I never make a single difference, my base will be a standard size of 15.5 centimeters. Since I continue with the increase and I never use the odd ones, we will now start with the odd ones after this increase. Our hat will become hollow, but after 2 rows it will start to become fully hollow. That's why it's approximately this peak. If you use it once in a while, those who have been following me for a long time will know. I have shared many recipes for hat peaks. I would knit the spaces single to avoid such fluctuations, but this time I will not do it like that. Let me share this with you. If you knit a single stitch in between, if you get exactly 16 centimeters or 16.5 centimeters, etc., or it could be 17 centimeters, you will still get the standard size if you make a single row in between. In other words, we knitted 1 row at a time, just like we did in the beginning, to prevent the whole thing from waving. But now a single double increase of 7 is enough for us. The last increase will give a standard measurement of 15.5 centimeters, as we continue in order. What do we do here now? Our job is easier. We will proceed by knitting 1 single crochet in each of them. In the last row, I attached my safety pin to the body at the last point and fixed it at this point so that it would not move up again. Now I come to each point. Look, we have now completed our last increase order. From now on, we will knit single needles by dipping into each one once. This will not be a full reach in the first place. This can give us approximately 16 centimeters, maybe 16.5 centimeters. As I said, the standard size can be 15 centimeters for children. 16 centimeters for adults. It can start from 16 centimeters and go up to 18 centimeters. You can do it yourself. You can set it now. For example, you are a little hesitant about setting it. You have knitted the base sufficiently, about 15 to 16 centimeters. Then it started to dent. You can rehearse it on your head after it starts to dimple. If you are comfortable, you can continue knitting, but what you see is either tight or too loose. It can be removed immediately and reduce your increases. Or if it is incomplete, you can knit it again by increasing 1 more row. You can play like this. It would be useful to share this information with you. Now we will knit a spiral shape and make our hat hollow by dipping into each one once. When I make a dimple, I will share with you the size and the number of rows. Where will this point be? It can be up to the ear or up to the middle line of our ear. We will make it dimple enough, then we will move on to making the shade part. Look, we have made our hat dimpled enough as we have described to you here. At this stage I gave steam into it from a distance and put the iron into it without contacting it. I pressed the head on the mannequin and flattened it with my hand. You can also make planes this way, or there is no need for ironing at all. You can achieve the same form by hand ironing directly with your hands. Now look here, this is my last point. I'm taking out my safety pin here. Look, I moved my safety pin here to the single crochet spot where I first started. Now we will increase the shade part. How many inches is it here? Knit a total of 18 rows until it is 11.5 centimeters. Look, after the point we increased, I made our hat hollow enough by knitting 18 rows. Now we are starting to knit the shade part. I knit 2 single crochets at the point that comes right up to the point. 1 to another, 2 to another. One after another. So look, we'll come to the end of the row like a couple, a single, a couple, a single, a couple, and odd. This row will be the only row we will increase. Afterwards we will knit it all by one, just like this point where we made a dimple. This will be the last increase we will make. This amount of increase will be enough for the shade. Afterwards, we will knit it completely and extend the shade part sufficiently. Afterwards, we will move on to making the final edge part. I will share this with you right away. After making our last increase here, we continued knitting 5 rows only single. Look, I want to show it like this. Let's remember that we came to the end of the row in the form of a pair. A single, a single, a single. After the end of the row, we knitted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows completely in this way. We have lengthened the shaded part of our hat, and I will tell you in centimeters. If you want to make it longer, you can increase it again in the third or fourth row. For example, you can extend the canopy section longer by increasing the size of 3 odd to 1 pair, 3 odd to 1 pair, and continuing with the odd ones again. I want to tell you the size of this canopy in centimeters. See, with the boost point. The size of the canopy part is 4.5 centimeters. Now we will knit it with black. We will have a canopy point of about 5 centimeters. Now lastly, we will use the black frame. With this process, this edge part will thicken. By the way, I want to say this. Look at it from the inside out. I turned my hat, this canopy part, on the inside. I pressed it and ironed it. After ironing it, I smoothed it with my hand. Look, it took a very nice shape, so it doesn't get damaged by ironing. Look, it looks like mold. The hat is very beautiful. Now let's finish with this thread. See here. After knitting the last single crochet, I want to show you. This is the last place we will sink. Dig in here and look. I'm stretching my loop a little bit without pulling the chain. No need to leave it too long, because we will knit one more row. Here I cut my yarn and remove the yarn from the ball. By the way, 1 ball of yarn was enough until this stage. Look, the color I used is here. 1 ball of ball was enough for this stage. Here, with our black color, we create a loop with a chain like this and just a little bit from the back. I will start from the point where we finished. Look at the point where we finished. I will sink the tops of the single needles. I will remove the stitch. I will put the short rope in between. I will knit single needle directly. There is no different operation we will do from now on. We will just continue with the single needle. Let's hide this short rope. Look, we will knit the rope here by hiding it again. Now we will knit a row. In this way, after knitting our black color with single crochet, we will pass one more row. Look, we went to the next single crochet point and broke our thread here. Look, the end and the beginning of the row are almost not obvious. You have to look very carefully. In this way, we will knit single crochet at each single crochet point again and come to the end of the row with our black color. Then we will have another sequence of operations, so we will double this single crochet stitch and make it strong. Share this with you immediately. We finished a row by continuing our single crochet with our black color. Now we are at the end of the line. We dip into the last single needle and knit our single needle. Now we are in last place. Look at the bottom part of the first single needle we started with. We sink into the bottom of the single needle, remove the stitch and knit a single needle. We sink into the bottom of another single needle and knit a single needle again. Look, we have doubled this part, so this edge part will look more like a mold. We will hold our hands like this at the shadow point. Without tightening, look, the black single needles sink into the bottom points we knitted, and we pass our second row of single needles in black again. I want to knit a little so that I can show you the texture clearly. Look, we will have obtained such a thick single crochet point. This is important for the edge of your hat. Now let's proceed to the end of the row by sinking into the bottom of each single crochet. And in this part, let's finish it and share with you the final version of our hat. Look, we've reached the end of our turn. We sink into the bottom of the last single needle here, leave our loop a little longer and cut it. Remove it from our stitch and look at the first long single needle we started with. We will pass our yarn through the gap on the left and take this yarn inwards from the back cut line and the outer single wing of the long single needle we knitted last. Then look with the help of crochet through the wide gaps. We will pass this short rope by making 2 layers. Look, we have completed it like this. Now I want to iron the last 2 layers that we have made. After ironing, we will have finished our hat. In fact, I want to show you at that ironing stage. Finally, we completed our hat by crocheting the ends. It was really stylish and beautiful. It was a very useful piece. I hope you like it and try it too. I wish good luck to those who will do it. Don't forget to like our video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. Goodbye until we see you in the next video.